Good afternoon, Jim Whitehead at Evolve Power Group and Phoenix Animal. It's good to be here. How are you all? I'm lucky today. I thought I wasn't going to be able to be on the air, but I am. So here we go. Today we're going to talk about the mysterious giant squid. This series is going to be related to animals, beings, you might say, that we don't see and don't know very much about. And what happens with the mysterious squid is it's so deep and so elusive that most people can't study it. Now, I've got pictures of it, so you want to know how the heck do you do that? Well, it's probably a good artist rendition of what we're talking about. But in getting going here, the giant squid is one of the most elusive and fascinating creatures in the ocean. And as you know, we know very little about a lot of our ocean. And yes, the ocean or water covers about 3/4, 75% of Earth. So you can imagine good things, bad things, scary things that we don't know much about or we don't even know anything about. So it's my job to introduce you to these unusual oddities. Anyway, its immense size and mysterious nature have captivated imaginations for centuries, often leading to tales of sea monsters. And, you know, we have had stories of sea monsters. We also have monsters right here on Earth, but right out here on land, but that's okay. We're not talking about those today. Okay. The scientific name is, I'll mess it up, Archithusis ducks. Deep ocean, typically 1,000 to 3,000 feet below the surface. And as you know, the interesting thing is, and maybe you don't know this, but when you go down in the ocean, for every 33 1/3 feet, you end up having, related to pressure, another atmosphere. Now, these are things I like to talk about, and I used to scuba dive, and 33 feet is a safe depth. But what happens is, for every 33 feet you go down, you acquire or have put on your body an additional atmosphere of pressure. And, you know, the bottom line is you can't really take a lot of pressure like that, because, you know, the pressure on me right now is 14.7 square feet, whatever, 14.7 inches. Anyway, bottom line, of course, if you keep going down and down another 30 feet, you get all this additional pressure. So diving is scary, and you have to do what we call decompression. If you go down below 33 feet for any extended period of time, unfortunately, you can develop nitrogen narcosis, because what happens, that pressure puts nitrogen into your bloodstream as bubbles, more or less. And if you don't, and you go down too far for too long, what happens is you get these bubbles in your bloodstream, especially at your joints, and if you don't come up, and there's an exact science on how long you kind of go up, for what depth, and how long you have to stay there before you're able to come to the surface. If you don't, and again, I didn't really even think I was going to talk about this, but it's like try to give the whole story. But if you don't do that and you come up, in other words, you're coming up too fast, those bubbles will basically kill you, and it's called the bends. And where the catch-22 is, if you go down, let's say 120 feet, it's going to be about 4 or 5 atmospheres, and you stay too long and you start coming up, and if you don't have enough air left to do the stops where you have to stop as you come up at a depth, and you then start to release those nitrogen harmlessly. But if you don't have enough air and you've got to come up, you're going to end up having the bends or nitrogen narcosis. And the only thing they can do then, and you will die, you have to go into a decompression chamber. It looks like a big iron lung. I won't even get into the iron lung, but it gets in where it artificially brings the pressure up, in essence, on your body, and then slowly drops that pressure so that you're able to get rid of that nitrogen. Anyway, okay, let's get back to what we were talking about. Their size, they can grow up to 43 feet long, with tentacles accounting for a significant portion of its length. Diet. It primarily feeds on other deep-sea creatures such as fish and smaller squid. I don't know if that's fair, but it is what it is. The big guy wins, right? Why is it so mysterious? Okay, its habitat is extremely difficult for humans to reach. And that is what I just finished telling you, making direct observation very rare. And as I said, the amount of time when you are scuba diving, the amount of time, the deeper you go, you have less time to be there. And, it's like, I can only be here 5 minutes. So you can't do a whole heck of a lot. So, or if you stay, you can run into what I said a little while ago. But also, if you go down too deep, it assimilates, you're getting drunk. Now, you haven't drank any alcohol, but the way the body works, it kind of acts that way. So you're a little bit happy and confused, and you go, I can do anything I want. I'm flying. So I know I'm telling you jokes here today, and I'm not really that funny most of the time. But yeah, it's pretty creepy. Giant squids are solitary. You don't understand that. Creatures that rarely surface. Their bodies are extremely fragile. And yes, again, if you have where they're coming up, and unfortunately if they, they'll die anyway, but if they come up, they can't deal with, in essence, the lack of pressure. So it does the kind of reverse. They tolerate, their body is what it has to be for the pressure that they find they're under. But of course, if they all of a sudden say, I'm going to go and see what the whiteheads are doing, that's probably not a good idea for them because I'm not exactly sure what will happen, but they won't live, I can tell you that. The bodies often prevents them from being found intact when they wash ashore. Now, despite its elusive nature, significant progress has been made in understanding the giant squid. In recent years, scientists have captured rare footage of live giant squids in their natural habitat. Advances in DNA analysis have provided insights into the evolutionary history and relationships of giant squids. If you'd like to know more about the aspect of giant squids, just let me know. But their anatomy, their behavior, their encounters with humans, and again, as we've just finished, they pretty much don't do a whole lot with humans because we can't go down to that depth.